These are the signature ballots. They've been mailed, they've been emailed, but I
Yeah.
always bring a printed copy to the
Yeah.
case. So there's 2 copies of each. And I wrote a note on here that return 1 copy of each to me.
Yeah.
You guys keep a copy for yourself.
Okay.
These are the only 3 that I need.
Okay.
Only Scott.
Scott does. Okay.
Alrighty. So I'll put those separate.
Okay.
And did they get this?
I think so. And if you have extra.
I followed here. 1, 2, 3. There's one.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Do we know who's voting here? Carrie.
Good morning, Eileen.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How about you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. You have a good holiday?
Yes, I did. It was relaxing. How about yourself?
Very, very nice. Oh, we had beautiful weather.
Yes,
I
we
mean,
did.
yesterday in particular was just the nicest Labor Day I can remember in a long time.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh, it's all right.
We're
I
just
figured
waiting
you
for the
were-
commissioners to come in now.
Okay.
What's that? Oh. I don't have to hear about stuff. Unless it goes against the law. That's the only caveat.
The other ones we can get later.
He's not as quick as he was earlier. That's gonna be a long night. That's what I thought.
Good morning. We ask you to please rise for the opening prayer and pledge allegiance. Dear gracious and loving God, we thank you for another day that you've granted us the gift of life. We pray that we use it for your glory and magnify you. We think of Labor Day yesterday and pay tribute to the hard-working men and women that brought and built this great country. We pray the determination of the American worker with your guidance will lead us forward to further greatness. Meet the needs of those that labor each day to support themselves and their loved ones. Father, we draw near to 9/11. Let us never forget that fateful day 20 years ago that changed the course of our nation forever. On that day, evil was evident as innocent men and women boarded planes and went to work. Police officers, firefighters, and EMTs started their shifts. Their lives were snatched away in the blink of an eye. Lives full of beauty, sacrifice, and promise. We remember the final calls made to loved ones. husbands, wives, sons and daughters, leaving messages in those final seconds saying, tell them I love them and I will see you someday. On that day, we did not focus on a person's nationality, color, wealth, sex, or religion. We focused on humanity, love, and people in need. We will never forget the ones that ran into those buildings to assist others to escape. The true heart of a nation in humanity was revealed in its open hearts. Lord, we lost 3,000 civilians, 343 firefighters, 60 police officers, and 80 EMTs. We lost countless since that day to the repercussions of these attacks. Father, we thank you that evil did not prevail when we stood as a nation. However, Lord, we stand here 20 years later, so divided in conflict and strife. We mourn the servicemen and women that were recently killed. We hear and see the horror that's going on in Afghanistan that we fought against. The same evil and hatred that consumed those 19 men that flew the planes into those buildings is now in so many in our country. That same hatred that came from faraway land on the other side of the globe is now manifesting itself from within this great country. Lord, do not allow our land to be torn apart with the same hatred that attacked us 20 years ago. We are Americans under one God. You have richly blessed our great land for nearly 2.5 centuries. May we look to you and to heal us in unity and love. We ask you to protect our land from any further attacks. Let us heal and unite in love as Americans. Do not let us self-destruct from the same hatred that caused loss and heartache 20 years ago. Now, Lord, we pray for your guidance today and throughout the days to come. These things we humbly pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll convene the Commissioners' public meeting at this time and ask for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
So move to approve.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried. And public comment on agenda items only at this time. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on.
2.0 bid openings with Krista Rogers.
Come in, Christie.
Come on. This is for, I'm not seeing.
This
names.
is for
Flood
the
mitigation.
flood mitigation, acquisition and demolition project.
We have two bidders, SRI for $84,900 and Steinbacher Enterprises Incorporated for $127,107,000.
Thank you.
Yes.
3.0 accounts payable cash requirements report with Randy Clemens.
Morning, Brady.
Good morning. I'm here to present the cash requirements report for invoices due through September 15th to be paid on the 8th or the 9th, depending on when we get payroll processed. If we can get payroll completed and processed today, we'll run checks tomorrow. If not, it'll be on Thursday. In the amount of $1,192,101.67, of which approximately 95% is county general funds this week.
Okay, any
Well,
questions,
the county
comments?
general,
Yeah.
Library.
Yeah, that was
That's
a
a big
big one, yeah.
where's the,
I think it's on page 7, maybe page,
okay.
page
The
7.
quarterly claim is
Yeah.
320, right?
That's the third quarter, yeah.
questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the accounts payable?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, so carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
TDA actions with Roxanne Greco.
Mayor Roxanne.
Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioners, we're asking you for these updates to the TDA. In Veterans Affairs, reclassify a Clerk 4, pay grade 5, to a Clerk 3, pay grade 4. And in Information Services, reclassifying one Programmer Analyst 2, pay grade 910, to a Senior Software Analyst, pay grade 910, effective September 5th, 2021.
Okay, any comments or questions? Hearing none, motion to accept.
I'll move to
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
accept.
Aye.
Aye, so carried. This time we'll recess the Commissioners' meeting for the Salary Board and convene the Salary Board.
Commissioners, we're asking you to approve the following update to the salary schedule. In Veterans Affairs, reclassifying a Clerk 4, pay grade 5, to a Clerk 3, pay grade 4.
Now a motion.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. We'll adjourn the Salary Board actions at this time, reconvene the Commissioners' closed meeting.
Personnel actions with Roxanne.
Commissioners, in RMS, Gary T. Staggart as a full-time replacement promotion, Deputy Director, Operations Manager, pay grade 12, $63,563.42 annually, effective October 3rd, 2021. At RMS Operations, David P. Bonus, full-time, new position. This is a temporary special projects, pay grade 13, $97,241.85 annually, effective October 3rd, 2021. In Information Services, Christopher Dalla Piazza, full-time reclassification, Senior Software Analyst, pay grade 10, $59,315.01 annually, effective September 5th, 2021. In Information Services, Daxton J. Silver, full-time replacement software specialist, pay grade 7, $35,642.46 annually, effective September 13th, 2021. And finally, in the Controller's Office, Kelsey I. Dowling, full-time replacement, administrative specialist, pay grade 6, $16.76 an hour, effective September 13th, 2021. I'll take that last one separately.
Okay. So the personnel actions, Mr. Staggert's being promoted to replace Mr. Bonus, who's going to be retiring after 30-some years. Mr. Bonus is the deputy at the landfill. There's a lot of institutional knowledge and budgetary items that Mr. Staggert must learn. So that position will be for a 9-day period, and Mr. Bonus will be helping Mr. Staggert with in the transaction. And then also the Information Services. Chris will now be supervising some people underneath him as he is reclassifying, which he did not do so before. Any comments or questions?
I think adjustments are going to have to be made within the Information Services to what I believe will be an exodus. But we're, right now, our salaries do not reflect the going rate in that department. And we will see people leaving this department. And it is it's a very important department of the county.
Commissioner, I believe we've already seen that. We've heard of it. That's one of the things that we hope to identify in the study. We know we can't compete with the private sector when it comes to those type of salaries regarding the information services. Many places pay twice, if not 3 times as many in the private sector. So that is definitely an issue that it's been plaguing us and will continue. Hopefully we can address it in the study. Any other comments?
And just to note that actually, Dave is not gonna be able to spend this all the time because he'll be out. So we tried to put a period of time there to transfer the 30 years of knowledge, which is very important. He's the second in command.
Well, I would like to comment that, as far as information services, we can ill afford to lose these people waiting for a study that may take 6 months to a year to identify.
So noted.
Did you vote?
Nope, have a motion to accept.
I'll move to
Personal actions.
A second?
All in favor, say aye. Aye, so carried.
And Commissioners, finally, we're asking you to approve the personnel actions for the month of August 2021.
Okay, have a motion.
I'll move to approve.
A second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roxanne. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll recess the Commissioners' meeting at this time for the final public hearing for the FFY 21 Community Development Block Grant. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Commissioners. There is a sign-in sheet in the back of the room. If anyone that is here that did not sign in could sign in, that would be great.
Excuse me, Kristen, 1 second.
Sure.
We'll convene public meeting at this time. Okay, fine.
Okay, sorry.
I just want to make sure we convene the public meeting.
Okay. This is the final public hearing for the CDBG funding for federal fiscal year 2021. The county's total allocation is $607,455. The county receives a total allocation of $291,230. The rest are what we call OBO, or on behalf of communities, which are Jersey Shore, Montoursville, and South Williamsport. For its project, Lycoming County selected the Brook Street water main replacement at $244,730 and administration $46,500. Jersey Shore selected their curb cut project at $80,710, administration $16,500. Montoursville is doing a Montoursville Homes in Need program in partnership with STEP. That is allocated at $83,059 and administration $16,900. And South Williamsport will be partnering with Habitat for Humanity for an acquisition project. That amount is $99,656 and administration $19,400. Also on the agenda is the resolution to submit the federal fiscal year 2021 application. This resolution is not only to submit the application, but authorizes the chairman to execute the signature documents. There's also a fair housing resolution, and the commissioners are ensuring fair housing in the county and providing guidance on fair housing grievances that may occur. So at this point in time, any public comment on the projects proposed for funding? Speak now. Hearing no comments?
Can you make one
Yeah.
explanation to the public? On the administration, just to refresh people's recollection.
Sure.
The administration costs sometimes look high, but this is not a administration that happens in one swoop.
No.
This
not-
goes on, and it includes all the work you've done to identify the projects. Maybe you could just quickly explain to the public what that administration cost covers.
Absolutely. We start the community development, public citizen participation process around February or March of any particular year. And I work with not only the county, but Jersey Shore, Montoursville, and South Williamsport to identify projects, go through the citizen participation process, which includes at those communities, public hearings as well as here. We go through at the county a selection process wherein we're getting project summaries from a variety of organizations and municipalities, and we're ranking those, and then eventually we come here to the final public hearing. After this, I'll take all the stuff and put the application together, we submit that, and then once the contract is let to the county, We manage the contract and all of the projects that are involved, including Jersey Shores, the Montefiores and South Williamsports, from we call, birth to burial, from this concept phase all the way through project sign off and, final project sign off by a professional, and usually engineer or architect, to make sure that everything was built to spec and that the project owner is happy. We then continue with we keep going with the contract until it is finally monitored by DCED, and we handle that monitoring as well. Throughout the process, we're also doing the environmental reviews, Davis-Bacon related acts, enforcement. Those are components of the project cost, but we're working directly with these communities, and working directly with the water authority in Montgomery to get all of this stuff together. And so we're really with the projects from initial concept, so say in 2021, until the contract is closed out in 4 to 5 years, and then it could be a couple of years after that it's actually monitored.
Right, that was part of what I wanted to show, is that it doesn't happen in 1 year, it can go on for literally 8 years.
Yeah, or longer, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions or comments? If not, commissioners, you may reconvene your public meeting, and
Thank you.
that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commissioners?
No, I just want to thank and CEDACOG for the program. It benefits so many people in our community in the low to moderate income. And here's a couple good examples where you'll probably be following these for at least 3 years, at least. When you see how it affects our residents and the people that this money is targeted for, it's rewarding. So I appreciate everything you do and what CEDACOG does for our county of Lycoming.
And just a quick comment, as usual, it's always difficult to make these selections. We selected the Montgomery water project because we thought it would reach a lot of people in one project, and so we did that.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve action item 8.1, the resolution to submit the federal fiscal year 2021 CDBG application.
And second.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried. Adjourn the public hearing at this time, reconvene the Commissioners' public meeting.
Oh, I thought we were in the public meeting.
Yeah. So
So I
you
made
re-
the motion in the public meeting.
So we're in the action items, which
Yes.
Kristen actually has 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3.
Yeah.
Kristen, which was, okay,
Did they?
yeah.
Jumped ahead. It's okay.
Sure, sorry. The 8.1 is to vote on the resolution to submit the application. 8.2 is the fair housing resolution, as I mentioned, and 8.3 is to vote on Section 504 resolution, which is reappointing Section 504 compliance officer and establishing the grievance procedure for federal fiscal year 2021 CDBG program.
Okay, so can I have a motion to accept action 8.1 through 8.3?
Okay. I'll move to accept 8.1 to 8.2.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
8.4, Maya Toon, voting on the subrecipient agreement with Lycoming County United Way.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This is the annual allocation that we get through the Human Services Block Grant, and it's for homeless assistance program. It's not $153,114. This is passed through to the United Way for administration.
It is a budgeted item.
Correct.
Any comments or questions? Have a motion to accept.
I'll move to accept.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Then, sorry, go ahead. The next item I have is to vote on another subrecipient agreement. It's with West Branch Drug and Alcohol. It's for the intermediate punishment grant. It's in the amount of $121,260. And again, this is a 2021 budgeted item.
This is the IP monies they receive each year.
That's correct. So there's a portion of funds that stay within the county for administration, and then the other funds, as stated here, will go through West Branch for their administration as a single authority.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 A
Thank you.
quick question, Maya, has that gone up or down, or pretty much stayed the same?
Well, this year it stayed the same. I think it was just a very short change, but it was just due to our own budget. The state themselves did not make any changes to the budget. They reflected what we requested. But I will tell you, the year before and prior, that's when they were discussing reducing it. We did see reductions then, but this year we were grateful that there was no reduction in that.
I'll be curious to see with the settlement of the opioid litigation, if we see an increase, or how they funnel it down to the community, whether it comes.
Historically, it's been reduced over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then Maya has, oh wait, did you vote on 8.6?
No, we didn't do 8.6.
Jeez, let's go ahead.
And that one is to approve amendment to the management agreement with Antares, is that correct?
Interesting.
Okay, for the management and continued oversight of the White Deer Golf Course. This is part of the 2021 budget item, and this is part of their extended renewal term that's allowed for in the agreement. And I don't know if Chris, if
Bruce,
you...
like to come up and say anything?
I just want to say I really appreciate the continued support of the county. Yeah, sure.
Yes, identify who you are.
Yeah.
The public.
Chris Strand with Indigo Golf Partners. Antris Golf is our parent name. I just want to say thank you to the county and the commissioners for their continued support of the process of revitalizing White Deer. I mean, and we know it's been a long go over the last 6 years, but it's been amazing work to see the progress we've made, both financially, conditions, and just proving the overall experience there. To really make it now an asset to the county. So we thank you, because it couldn't have been done without you guys as well as helping us along the way. So appreciate that.
Can you give us a brief update on how things have been going?
Sure. I mean, when we first took over management 6 years ago, it was obviously had a lot of financial concerns, to say the least. And we've, over the first 3 years, we kept cutting the debt and stuff in half. By 2019, well, actually by 2018, we no longer borrowed any money from the county directly. It was all self-funded, cash flow wise. Starting in 2019, we made a profit. Last year, made a significant profit, and this year we'll extend that even further, while we'll keep making progress on the golf course too. So it's come a long way financially, and it's now truly an asset and self-sustaining. So it's been great.
Can you run through for us some of the numbers on the profit that you made? Do you have that off the top of your
Sure.
head?
Yeah, in 2019, the bottom line, we made $13,000. Last year we made $104. This year we're projecting to make, let's say, well over that. We'll be, another 50 to 100,000 probably better in 2021.
Then 2020. Oh, I'm sorry.
In
2020 was
2021 over-
104,000, and you think you'll be 50 to 100 over that?
Correct.
Okay.
And there's no more debt as far as the, we adopted a lot of old AP, and there were some of the debt service payments and stuff that all got cleared up over the years. So now we don't have a cash flow issue, which we normally would have to borrow the first couple of years over the winter. We're in a good financial position to be self-sustaining.
Very good news.
Thank you for your.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
I want to thank Commissioner Mathera for all the energy he's put into this. I mean that with all sincerity, from when I first came in 6 years ago. The passion he put into trying to solve the problem of the course, and it's been controversial, but regardless of whether one plays golf or not, it has to help us as a community to have as a public asset, a place where people don't have to join a private club and spend lots of fees to play golf. It's got to help us in our ability to attract people to the community. So I do want to thank you for that. You've had the experience of playing golf there, so you knew what some of the problems were.
Took a 3-0 vote, so appreciate the vote as well. So
Yeah.
you're doing a fantastic job.
And we appreciate what Antares has done too.
Thank you.
Yeah, my perspective was, for it not to be a money pit for the taxpayers, which it had been. And since you folks have come in, it's no longer a money pit. And it is an asset. And we look forward to a very good end of the year report with some further good news,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can share with the taxpayers.
Absolutely.
And if we can, calm down the rain a little.
Yeah. I mean, and that's despite obviously a very wet summer, right? I mean, it's still been going very well.
Very good.
You can have a motion to accept action item 8.6, to amend the management agreement.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that, but let me make one more comment.
Yes.
What's amazing is when you go up there, and my wife and I go up there quite a bit, in the evenings to walk and to play. But what's amazing is the amount of new golfers, children, young children, high school children. This is a sport that I think, because of the pandemic, people just tried to play it. And now there are opportunities out there to bring in more members and to bring in more golfers, because from the golfers that I talk to that are new to it say it's a challenge that we never believed in. And they want to get better. So I think this is only going to help us in the future as far as memberships and providing some family time with the kids.
No, that's a good point. And I mean, and I just want to reiterate this, because a lot of people in the community don't golf and they say, why do we do this? There's some people in the community that don't go to the community arts center, but we support it. There are people in the community that don't go to the parks, but we support them. The point is that a community, not everyone is going to be the same, and not everyone's going to do the same thing. But for us to attract people and to retain population, which is the biggest challenge we have to create a community where there are opportunities for children, like the commissioner just mentioned, opportunities for seniors who might be retiring, and the opportunities will take different forms, right? They'll take different forms, but so long as there's opportunities there, it's going to be a place where people will want to come, especially where we are ripe for seniors to come and retire here. We should do those, we should look for things that people who retire often engage in, even if they never did it before. So, again, I do want to just say it's been a tough road, and I know it's been controversial with the public, but at the end of the day, it's got to help us as a place that's a nice place to come and live, as well as to visit.
And we continue to tackle the land that surrounds it, and hopefully be able to sell that off. And we have Shannon Rossman here in our audience. I'm going to put her on the spot. Can you provide us an update on what's going on with that?
We need to clean up the acorns in our parking lot.
The
Because
what?
after this, I'm gonna go
You
get
tripped on an
my
acorn?
I slipped on an
Oh,
acorn.
you slipped on
in our
an acorn. Oh,
parking
boy.
lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Right now, we have, with the help from our consultant Keller Associates down in DC, we've applied through the state, through DCNR, and they have endorsed our project where we would be converting land that was encumbered with federal funds. And we are in the process of looking at a separate parcel that we would hopefully be able to convert and then be able to sell some of the land that we don't use out of the county golf course. We're not quite exactly sure yet because we want to get the National Park Service is the one that makes that decision. DCNR has endorsed our project, and Congressman Keller has written a letter of support to the National Park Service for our project. We're just waiting for them to give us the go-ahead and the nod so that we can then do the Yellow Book appraisals for both the part that we want to sell and the part we want to buy to convert to parkland, which would make much more sense. So we're just waiting right now for the National Park Service to get back to us. And hopefully that will be soon, because then we'll be able to move forward with the appraisals and then determine how much land we would be able to sell and convert.
And this is all tied to an agreement in 1978, September of 1978, that said that they utilized $20,000 of federal monies for structures. And they don't identify the structures on the golf course. So,
And unfortunately, it encumbered all 400 and some acres. So, yeah. But hopefully we will be, hopefully we'll get that nod from the National Park Service and be able to move forward. Then it's not an acre for acre, it's a value for value. So that's why we need the Yellow Book appraisals to determine, okay, what's the value of the land that we could potentially purchase and what's the value of the land that we would like to sell. And so we have, I think it's around 70 acres that we're interested in selling of the golf course, but they're in separate parcels and sizes. So we're looking at the most important ones that would be the best for housing development in that area, which is something that we do need in that area. So as soon as we know that appraisal, then we'll be able to sit and figure out what we'll be able to convert. So.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as you mentioned that report, I think that we've done this, but we should make sure that that's the only land that we ever want to swap out. If we think we want to swap out any more land, we should do it now, because this process is incredibly complicated. You see what I'm saying? It just occurred to me, if we want to go beyond the 75,
I don't
even though
think,
it
no.
may not be.
The land that was selected out is land that's not currently being used by the golf course. I
Right.
believe the rest of the land is all part of the golf course itself. It's not land, it would take away from the golf courses, which isn't
Right.
something we'd be able to do.
Okay.
So I believe that what we've selected out is the full amount that could be used. The key thing will be whether or not the value of the parcel we're looking at will match the value of parcels we want to sell.
Right.
So that's the key thing. So,
Part of the planning was also having a meeting with the superintendent of Montgomery School.
yeah,
Because can they handle
right,
that additional housing?
Right.
And the students without doing something with their school? So that was an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
so. And we need to sit down with them again as soon as we know we can move forward, and the township and everything too. So.
And so people don't become cynical about the federal government, you know, it takes a long time, but think about this. You have X number of people in the department. Those people are dealing with projects like, this is like one project that they're dealing with, but it's happening probably in other parts of the country also. But then beside that, we have a series of fires going on in our national parks. And I'm sure that every hand on deck is working to deal with those fires and to make sure that if they spread to federal land or if they're on federal land. So it does take time, but there's a reason, you know. So we'll get it done. We just got to keep pushing the bureaucracy, which I'm sure Congressman Keller is doing.
Yeah.
My brother worked for the Department of Interior for 30-some years. He retired. I wonder if I should have him send a letter of recommendation.
Okay, thank you, Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept action items 8.6?
I have a motion and a second.
Oh, we do, okay, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
8.7 and 8.8, Nancy Ackley.
Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning, Commissioners. Juvenile probation is requesting your approval for Kids Peace 2021 and 2022. Kids Peace provides a psychiatric hospital, comprehensive range of residential treatment programs, accredited educational services, and a variety of foster care and community-based treatment programs to help people in need and overcome challenges that transform their lives. Right now, the one reason we got this contract was so we had some foster care available to us. We contract with all the programs, so we don't have to go back and do amendments if we decide to use something else.
And you're rolling 3% increase.
That one. Yeah, they had wanted, their proposed increases went from 9.7% to one program was a 25% increase, and I got them down to the 3%.
I've said this before, Nancy, the county should be thanking you on a regular basis for your negotiation skills, because you've saved thousands of dollars by working with these agencies and negotiating their rates down to a reasonable level.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For now, I'm able to do that. We'll see in the future if I can still do that.
Any questions or comments?
One question. We know that the federal and state governments always give us less money when the more oriented towards congregate care or
The more secure they go,
the
the less.
secure the institution is.
Yeah, we don't get it.
So this is a psychiatric hospital. Does that policy of cutting the money that they give us and having the locals pay more apply regardless of whether or not the child is, for example, if a child has psychiatric issues which require it, do they still put that in the category as long as it's a secure facility?
As long as it's secure, it will fall out of that. You won't be able to get any 4E money.
Okay.
And I guess the 4E money is going to start drying up here even more October 1st, something like that. We could usually get for the entire time they're in care, for like the whole 30 days or 31 days. Now they're going to back it down to you could only claim the first 14 days.
Is that right? The feds in the state are only going to pay the first 14 days?
You'll bill them for 14 days.
Okay.
Yeah, the 4E money is going to start drying up little by little.
Okay, thank you.
How many kids do we have in this program?
Right now, none. We don't have any kids'
Okay.
fees.
This is as needed.
As needed, yes.
Right.
Motion to accept.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
So carried.
The next one is 2021-2022 Center County Youth Center. It's a temporary secure placement for those adjudicated and alleged delinquent youth awaiting court disposition and or placement. They provide education, basic life skills programming, medical, psychological, and or comprehensive diagnostic evaluations, and this is for males and females. This is our detention center.
And how many do we have there now?
Every month it changes. I think last month we had 4. I don't think we have anybody in there this month. I could be wrong. I haven't seen the bills yet. If nothing else, there's at least 1 in there.
Yeah.
Are we seeing a rise in juveniles that are needing help?
Yes. Problem is nowhere to put them.
And nowhere to put them?
Especially like for detention centers, our resources are drying up. We can call them and they don't have beds. And then we just have to put a monitor on them and send them home even though we need to get them out of the community. So we're looking for even more detention centers to try and contract with so we don't have to do that.
And the center that the county had a while ago, is that similar?
For the shelter care?
Yeah, the shelter care.
That would have been the next best go-to. Had there not been no detention beds, that's the next, that'd be the next thing to try and put them in, at least to get them off the streets, out of the home, somewhere where they're monitored.
Okay.
what is sort of the typical reason that you see them put into the shelter?
For shelter?
Yeah, I mean, is it, if it was 1950, it might be gangs, or 1980 gangs. Is it drugs? Is it abuse? I mean, them abusing
Yes,
other people?
yes,
Okay,
all
those
of
are
it.
them abusing younger people, or
All of it,
all of it?
yes. Caretakers, their parents, friends, sisters, cousins. Nothing's changed since the 50s.
Okay. Well, I hope something.
It'd be nice if something
I
would
hope-
change.
Yeah, I hope we're at least a little better at identifying and putting money at the front end of the.
That's the thing, we can identify it and try
Yeah.
and rectify the situation as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll keep trying to create a community where that is not the majority.
A motion to accept action item 8.8.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
8.9, Jason Yorks is on the line. This is for a purchase of a new 2021 Caterpillar. Jason?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
For you for approval is the purchase of a 2021 Caterpillar smooth drum vibrating roller. This replaced our 2005 Caterpillar drum roller. The purchase is in the amount of $140,875. It is a 2021 budgeted item. I can say that all three of you visited 2 weeks ago. We were able to have you look at the demonstrator model that we brought in versus the old roller that we had. I think it was pretty evident why we needed to replace. I know Commissioner Marabito had noticed how the drum had quite a bit of wear compared to the new one. So I appreciate you guys coming over and looking at these items, but for your approval just for today is the roller that we had you look at.
Commissioner, what did you do? What
So-
size, what was it, a quarter?
It's a
or-
bottle
Yeah.
cap.
It was a bottle cap?
Well, if you can imagine for the public, when you see them paving roads, a huge roller, steel roller, and we took a little measuring device and we measured the steel that is on the roller. I did with the bottle cap that was lying there, and then I went over to the new one, and boy, you could tell that this had significantly been worn off.
It's about a half inch.
Half inch, yeah. So what I also was moved by was the fact that, by the way, this comes out of landfill revenue, so it's not coming out of property tax revenue, and they need it obviously to run the landfill. But the fact that when you're on a steep incline, that the new machine has more power to be able to get up that incline and to not slip back. And obviously, when you're at the landfill, some of these slopes are very steep.
Extremely steep.
Yeah, so it's probably a definitely needed item.
Any questions? Okay. A motion to accept action item 8.9.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Commissioners, thank you very much.
Thank you.
8.10, Lauren Strasser, who's also on the line, to vote on 2021 902 Recycling Program Grant. Lauren?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, Lauren.
Today I'm seeking approval for the 902 Recycling Program Grant for the amount of $10,526. This is a reimbursement grant for recycling equipment, and it would be for a forklift and a recycling truck that was purchased last year and this year. This grant is 90% DEP grant funded with a 10% match. Typically, this grant is every other year, so we did submit last year and received funds for the 902, and then this year they opened it up and made it eligible for everyone. So it is competitive, but we were going to submit for this amount for this equipment.
Okay, any questions or comments?
It's unusual for us to get it back to back, correct?
Yeah.
Not since, right, correct. So recently it's unusual. I guess when it first started, this was typical, but over the years it was changed to every other year.
Okay, good news. Okay, have a motion to accept.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, so carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.
And I want to give a shout out to Steve Sims. A few years ago, I don't know, was it 2 years ago, we put Steve over there, 3. And, you know, he's a numbers person. He looks at every aspect of the RMS and gives us some very good numbers, informative numbers, things that we need to know, and what Jason over at the landfill needs to know. I think he's been a valuable asset to the overall operation of RMS, and just wanted to give a thanks to him as well.
Yeah, there's no question that he's been able to help crunch the numbers and set up the kind of analysis that helps the others, Jason and Dave and the other supervisors, to be able to run it by looking at how much, a good example is the recycling. How much is it costing us each time we send a truck out to pick up a load? And how much money has the landfill been able to save by changing the pickups, and in some cases having to eliminate them, but in the long run, keeping a program more cost effective. So that's a good point.
And it's helping to, not just with the increase in product cost that we're receiving now in revenue for recycling, this has helped add to that and profit through Steve's studies and numbers and the adjustments they've made.
Commissioners, if I might, this is Jason again. Thank you very much for the words for Steve Sims. He has been an incredible asset to landfill. I also might add that Mr. Sims takes an active role with his business department and moving forward with other customers, developing new business plans as far as new waste streams and so forth. So he has been a huge help. We're talking in such quantity of monies and investments and stuff that he's brought it all together and been able to put it in a package for every one of us to understand. And as you'll see here Thursday and Friday, we'll be before you for our budget hearings. Steve once again has done an outstanding job preparing for 2022. So I appreciate the kind words from my staff.
That's a good point, Mr. Yorks, because people may not realize, but the landfill goes out and solicits to get business, and sometimes it's very lucrative. We have the ability sometimes to dispose of waste that people will pay to dispose of, outside the normal folks who are in that agreement, those counties, right?
Yes, sir. And I'd also like to point out that grant that you just approved for Mrs. Strasser, that funding that funding is not taxpayer-based either. That funding comes from all landfills in the state of Pennsylvania. Those are part of the $2 a ton that goes into the Act 101 fund at Harrisburg that we put in quarterly payments. So it's nice to see us be able to get a portion of it back.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so 8.11, Austin Daly, who's also on the line, for voting on memorandum of understanding with Eldred Township. Austin?
Yes, good morning, everyone. So today I have for you the MOU with Eldred Township for the road work as part of the bridge bundling program. Prior to soliciting bids for Bundle 1, as you may recall, Eldred Township approached the county with proposed road safety improvements on the curve leading up to the bridge for their Bundle 1 bridge on Caleb's Creek Road. So rather than have two contractors on site trying to coordinate paving schedules and grading, etc., we determined that it would be easiest for all parties to include the road improvements within the RFP for Bundle 1 as a separate line item, and then we would have Eldred Township reimburse the county with the amount that was awarded in the Bundle 1 RFP, which was awarded to Wolniak Construction. So that amount was $39,962.25. We've been very content with the work we've received thus far through the project. I know we're eager to get back out and see this location specifically as soon as possible. And I think this is a good opportunity for people to see how local government can work with the county government to make state money go even further.
Good point. Good point, Austin. And thanks for all the work you're doing as well. It was nice to drive over that bridge during lunchtime. It's amazing the work that they had to do, but the cost wasn't anywhere near what I thought that bridge would cost.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot lower.
And this is the infrastructure. People in the county should feel proud that they, by approving that $5 fee, we were able to do this infrastructure work. And here, by working with the township, that's more infrastructure. They're going to eliminate an unsafe road. So that does make sense.
Yes, Commissioner, for those who may not be aware, I mean, this is the only road that leads back to Ryder Park, which sees, tons of visitors every year who may not be familiar with the road. So by widening the curve and making it safer, it, hopefully cuts down on the number of vehicles that would either strike the new bridge or worse, end up in the creek or what have you. So it's a low amount of money for us to put up front, but it'll go a long way in making the road safe, and of course Eldred will be, paying us back in return.
Okay, thank you, Austin. Have a motion to accept.
I move to approve.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And finally, 8.12, Shannon Rossman, voting on resolution 2021.09 and letter of commitment for Keystone Communities.
Morning, Commissioners. And I just saw a typo, so I will get you a new letter and resolution. But before we will be applying to the state for a Keystone Communities grant for $500,000 to help offset some of the costs at the Timber Run Industrial Park. Some of those costs that we're looking to offset are the water line extension, which is going to be, the bids came in a little higher than we expected at $825,300. And we're also going to be looking to get some additional funding, if at all possible, for the access road. We don't know exactly what those costs are going to be yet, but this definitely, if we can get this grant, it will definitely help us with the water line extension. So, and this is to improve the line all the way out to the line that currently goes to RMS. It will also put in a new line over to Digger, and we will have a new chlorination station and a couple of other items. And I believe that once this line is put in and then everything is turned over to the authority, I believe if anybody along the R line that we had put in years ago needs to connect, they would be able to do so. I've heard that I think it's along Cemetery Road where there's some people with a lot of water issues. So some of the public may be able to benefit from this also. So they're going to be letting the bid for the water line construction at the next Thursday night's meeting at the Montgomery Water Authority.
It is remarkable that having gone for many years without appearing to have new jobs coming here, all of a sudden in the last 6 to 8 months, we have a lot of companies choosing us to relocate here. And a constituent called me this morning and said that they thought that there was some really good news on the horizon for us in the sense that people from out of town are buying houses here. I mentioned before the one on 4th Street that sold in the historic district, and we've talked about people leaving the cities and so forth, but let's just hope it continues and that we can do what we need to do to get people to come here. You know, it's amazing to me, the cities, especially around the suburbs, around Philadelphia or any of the big cities, have such a problem with overgrowth and what is the term, Shannon, that I want to, it's missing in my head here.
Sprawl?
Sprawl, right?
Mhm.
Suburban sprawl, urban
Mhm.
sprawl. Well, we have lots of wide open space here, and we have a nice community, so let's hope they come.
Okay, a motion to accept.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Commissioners' comment?
Anything?
Now, the only comment I have is, yesterday, we were on our way south, and we were on Montgomery Pike, and we were stopped at the outlook. It took 15 minutes to get down that little mountain.
Who stopped?
Well, traffic.
Huh?
So the light down there, you know, I would ask PennDOT to take a look at this, and, because it does cause some issues, where there was so much traffic going south, and it was the holiday, I understand that, but coming out of the golf course yesterday was dangerous, because you could not get out. There were that many cars, and then you decide to take chances. And so as you see more and more traffic, and we are seeing it on the 15 corridor, especially at the landfill. Okay, those are two areas that people come in and out of constantly. And when you can't get out, you start to take more risk. And I hope PennDOT will take a look at that light, for example, and also take a look at the area that we're planning on developing, you know, with the transportation studies, and share that information with us.
That's a good point, because once that industrial park starts to really move ahead, there are going to be a lot of cars coming out down there by the landfill. You're talking about the intersection by the Sunoco.
Yes, both intersections.
locations.
I mean, there are a number of roads. I mean, Larry is familiar with some of the roads, Bridgetown, over there. I mean, you know, sometimes it's just difficult to get out across if you're heading south there. There's probably about 4 roads that, you know, need to be looked at.
Okay, I'd like to bring up a story that was recently printed in one of the local papers about a Watsontown couple, 31 years, that was wed at Evangelical Community Hospital down in that area. There was a couple that had been together for 31 years. They never got around to getting married, but they've been together. He was in the hospital with cancer, and it was reported that his doctors believes his cancer was incurable. They wanted to get married, and what was awesome is we look at our hospital staffs across the nation as people that come to work and they take care of our needs, but the nurses and the medical staff often go above and beyond. And the doctor had made note to the director of patient experiences down there, the couple's wish. So multiple hospital workers, medical and non-medical alike, helped plan this wedding. They got a hold of the chaplain, and they were very reluctant to even visit the hospital chapel. They weren't going to take him out of the hospital due to his condition. And where this comes into Lycoming County and how it ties into Lycoming County, after phoning several regional courthouses, Lycoming County Register Recorder David Huffman agreed to make the trip to Lewisburg to complete the necessary paperwork for a wedding license. So I want to thank Dave for making this couple's dream become a reality. They were able to be wedded in the hospital room. The staff down there got a wedding cake, as well as sparkling grape juice and champagne to help celebrate the occasion. And this couple that are in their 60s and 70s were able to realize their dream and be wed. So I want to thank Dave for going above and beyond and doing this wonderful act and getting this completed so this couple could be wed. So I just wanted to note that.
If I could add one more thing, Chairman. A dear friend of ours passed away on Sunday. We used to visit his meat market over here, Donnie Waltman, and keep him and his family in your prayers. He was a good guy, good for our community.
He was an icon of downtown Williamsport. Many people ate lunch at his deli, and he truly cared about the public. He always had a kind word when he came in and a smile on his face.
He worked almost right to the end there. He just closed the recent.
Any public comment?
None. I mean, on.
Nothing online?
Sorry.
We have one from the audience. Morning again, Kristen.
Morning. I just wanted to speak regarding item 6.5 and read a section of the code. Portion of 1620, the exercise of such responsibilities by the county commissioner shall in no way affect the hiring, discharging, and supervising rights and obligations with respect to such employees as may be vested in the judges or other county officers. Taking personnel actions for hiring of county officers, judges, goes against this section of the county code, and your actions in the past show your belief that these actions override section 1620. So I just wanted to go on record as a county officer that per 1620, all hiring, discharging, and supervising rights are vested by law with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm just sort of curious. On Ms. Controller.
Yes, sir.
Under what we did, how would the person get, if we hadn't taken this action, how would the person get allocated the money to be paid?
Salary board does that.
I'm not sure about that, but.
If the rest of the board, or let me come back up, sorry. The salaries and compensation of county officers are fixed by law. If you go down into 1622, that's where salary boards are created and when salaries are set. So once the salaries for all the positions are created, who goes into those positions for elected officials are their decision.
Right, and we've always respected that. I mean, you interviewed.
But then the personnel actions are unnecessary for elected officials' hires.
Well, I don't agree with that. The personnel action allows us to keep organized.
You can acknowledge a you can acknowledge that someone was hired by an elected official, but your actions in the events in April showed that your authority in your belief goes as far as firing an elected official's employees.
Well, I don't think we fired them. I think
You threatened. It was threatened.
All right, why did
So if an elected official believes that they want to hire a person and the county commissioners refuse, are we violating the law?
Yes.
How?
Because once the position is created and funded by salary board.
Well, how is it created?
So-
Once the position's created. How do we eliminate a position then? If we If we believe that an elected officials has too many employees, and an employee resigns or moves on, and we do not want to hire them, we don't want to replace them, is that our right?
If the position exists by salary board, which a position can be deleted in salary board.
By whom?
Salary board members with elected officials, the members are the 3 commissioners, the controller, and whatever elected official.
Right.
So that's where a position would be deleted. But that doesn't go to who fills that position. So
I don't have an issue with that.
if at the point that a position has been vacated and the commissioners are looking to no longer fund, then that goes into budgetary decisions, which is outside this discussion.
That's very important, that's clarified.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I think what the commissioner's pointing out is that, I mean, we literally have had in exit interviews, employees tell us, I'm leaving, and by the way, there's not enough work to do.
Don't fill my position.
Don't fill my position. We literally have had employees tell us
Several.
that there's not enough work for me to do. And whether that's a result of people not assigning work, or whether it's a result of not having enough work in the department, as elected officials responsible for the budget, we have a responsibility to not just be funding positions for which there's not enough work. I mean,
That's not what I'm bringing to light here.
No, but I'm.
I don't disagree,
Right,
but
the
that's
point
not
is
what I'm
that
saying.
there are times when, as commissioners, we need to
But the
decrease the number of
personnel
positions.
actions that you take should be for the positions within your authority. If you want to have the transparency that the intention was when you moved to personnel actions, you could have informational items for elected officials hires. But the actions that you're taking by personnel actions, when it's an elected official hire, goes against the 1620.
Well, my only thing is, look, we could sit here and the chairman could make a motion that we are going to take the troops out of Afghanistan. And the 3 of us could vote to do it. Now, do we have the authority to do that? No, but the point is that I think that what you're saying is not of consequence, because we do
disagree.
respect salary board. We take the salary board action, so
I have never brought this up before until, the reason I'm bringing it up now is this is the first position I've had on since April. And when employees were threatened due to personnel actions, this is why I feel very strongly about this.
I don't think we.
Do you want to get into this now?
No, but.
I would choose
No,
not to, because I don't want to, I apologize. I don't want to get into that
Well, you just
discussion. You brought the.
made an allegation against us again.
Commissioner
Okay.
Musser brought the agenda over with Matt Tierney's name circled and told him he would be fired the next day if he didn't report to the
I
other
never
office.
said that.
Yes, you did. I have witnesses.
Well, here's the point, though. If the work is transferred from that department and we
Again, I don't
offer
want to
him-
relitigate,
Okay.
which is why I didn't want to bring it up. But
It's no problem. It's no problem. I believe, though, when you make allegations against me, I'm not speaking for them. I take this very personal, because that's part of my life, that I will remain with the
I
most
have the agenda
integrity
with your
that I
hand
have.
ready,
Okay?
and I have witnesses.
And when you say we illegally do things, right?
Here's the law.
No, you accused us of illegally doing things on a number of occasions. That is not illegal. And I want you to stop saying that, because if not, then there will be another lawsuit personally. I won't get the county involved.
You already sued me once personally.
Yes. So.
I'm only speaking the truth.
Oh,
Krista, it's your
according to you.
interpretation of the truth, okay? The judge issued an order. We all read the same order.
Yeah.
We all read the same order. He didn't make any determination
I
regarding.
understand that.
Okay, then state that. State the judge.
I have stated it multiple times.
Okay, the judge did not make a decision on the main issue.
You didn't ask me to.
Okay. I shouldn't have to. In order for us to get along
I
and
just
work
needed this to
together,
be on the
we need to speak what
record.
happened in court and speak truthfully about it.
I am speaking truthfully.
Okay.
The judge did not make an issue, he did not make a decision on the main issue.
But
Okay?
the law is still the law.
And regarding the transfer of employees, they were transferred, and when you have someone who doesn't go down to an office and was directed by the administration to do so, that's insubordination.
Again, it goes back to
That's
this part of the law.
insubordination. Okay. That has to be determined by a court then. Okay, and the court did not tell us to move people back.
I'm
That's
not
the
here to
issue.
argue that. I'm here
Okay.
to state
I
related
understand
to
exactly what
specific.
you're arguing. I fully
I'm
understand.
not trying to
that.
argue, I was stating.
Stating, that's a good word, stating. And so noted.
That's it?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Any other public comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, we are adjourned to next meeting, which will be on September the 14th at 10 a.m. Everybody have a good day. And if you can attend 9/11 ride, whether it be the actual riding in the ride or just attending along the highway to remember what took place on that fateful day, we ask you to do so, and we will never forget 9/11, all those ones that sacrificed, and pray that will never ever happen again. And please be careful out there. We live in a dangerous world. Have a great day. He hasn't signed these right now.
Does that help you?
Still on.
It really does.
Well, if you could, yes. Happy to help.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Any copies? Yeah. Here.
Usually, okay, for every
By the way, I put